After knowing the contributions from the pioneers of forensic science, let us know how and why this forensics is highly dependable scientific aid in criminal or civil case investigation. And for that, we need to know its laws and principles, which are seven in number. Here are they. Number one is the law of individuality. Number two is principle of exchange. Number three, law of progressive change. Number four, principle of comparison. Five is the law of analysis. Six, law of probability. Seven, law of circumstantial facts. Coming back to the definition, forensic science is the application of scientific knowledge and methodology to the legal problems and criminal investigation. Like the sky with many stars, like any fruit bearing tree with many fruits. Forensic science encompasses many different fields of sciences, which includes chemistry, physics, biology, engineering, medicine, and pathology, to name a few. There are many others in the list. We all now know and understood that from the definition that forensics is the thorough study of evidences discovered or found. It again, let me read it again. Forensics is the thorough study of evidences discovered or found at the crime scene or the scene of crime by the investigating officer, that is IVO, or the crime scene investigator or the crime scene expert. As an applied science, forensics has developed its own laws and principles for reliable productivity or the outcome. All the laws and principles are the basis of forensic science. Let us go to the first law, that is the law of individuality. Every object, the natural or man made, has an individuality with unique characteristics which cannot be duplicated in any other object, whether a person or object, can only be identical to itself and so is unique. If the same is established, it also it also means that no two twins are ever identical. They may be similar or they may appear to be similar, but it cannot be identical. If the individuality is established, it connects criminals to crime and victims. This appears to be contrary on common beliefs and observations. Examples for this law of individuality is here in front of you. Twins, plant seeds, grains of sand or granules, You can also add crystals of salt. Looks exactly alike, is it not? But they are not identical. It can be identical to itself. You can be identical to your own self. Even your twin brother, sister cannot be you. They may appear to be similar, but they will be having their own characteristic, own tastes. That is what the law of individuality is trying to say. Everything has its own characteristics and uniqueness. Let us go to the next principle, that is principle of exchange, and this is also known as Locard's principle of exchange. Any contact exchanges traces in the Locard's is the Locard's principle of exchange. Any contact exchanges traces is the Locard's principle of exchange. This has earned him the name as one of the fathers of forensic science. Locard is known as one of the fathers of forensic science because of this contribution, because of this principle of exchange. When a criminal, his instrument of crime, come in contact with the victim or the object surrounding him, leaves traces, and in return or in exchange, the criminal or his instruments picks up traces from the same contact. This principle holds that the criminal or the crime committer will bring something into the crime scene while coming and leaves with something from it. That means takes something from the crime scene, and that both can be used as forensic evidences. An individual may leave his prints such as footprints, fingerprints, palm prints, hairs, leave dust from his place, brought from his place, and take dust and soil granules from the crime scene, may leave sweat and odor, etc. Mutual exchange of traces takes place between the criminal, the objects involved, place of commission, and of course, victim if there are any. This is definitely bound to take place, that there will be exchange of anything. You may bring something, it is not knowingly been done, it is unknowingly been done. You can never plan it. You can never plan any crime. It is left to the brilliancy of the investigating officer to find these traces, based on this principle of exchange, the very crucial principle of forensic science. Everything depends on this principle. You have to just find this exchange or the traces which is brought by the perpetrator and taken by the perpetrator. Let us move on to the next law, that is law of progressive change. This law says that change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. It is universal truth. Jagada niyama. Badalavaniye Jagada niyama. This law states that everything changes with the time gap, passage of time. Different types of objects may take different time span to change, and its impact its impact on criminal investigation is immense, because the crime scene and the criminal undergo changes and sometimes become unrecognizable. So time and timing is very important here. Earlier the better. Longer the delay in examining, the changes bound to happen either manually or naturally, be it anything. So, as an investigating officer, on hearing the news or getting the information, you should proceed to the crime scene. You should inform the police nearby, his men nearby, to protect the crime scene so that it is not disturbed by people around, knowingly, unknowingly, purposefully, whatever. But it is his duty to tell his man who is in near the nearby the crime scene to protect the crime scene so that it does not get spoiled, and do the necessary immediately so that the evidences don't change. Let us go with the example on the slide. The scene of crime undergoes rapid change. Yes, it does. Samples degrade with time. Very true. Bodies decompose. Absolutely. Bite marks and tire marks fade over. That you all know. Metal object rust. Even the criminal change beyond recognition. Yes. So before that, the IO has to react. We react fast. Let us move to the next principle, that is principle of comparison. Only the alike can be compared is the principle of comparison. Here, at the first instant itself, we must understand the very basic meaning of the word comparison. Hope you all know the word comparison and its meaning. It emphasizes the necessity of providing samples and specimens for comparison with that of the thing or item in question. Actually, this principle of comparison stress upon the necessity of providing samples and specimens for comparisons with that of the thing or item in question. For example, currency note. See, whenever someone say this currency is a fake currency, to which are you going to compare it? You are going to compare with another note, or are you going to compare with another coin or the paper, newspaper? No, you are going to compare with the samples which are alike. So, is the signature. You never go and compare your signature with the printed sign or the name. You'll always compare the signature with signature done manually. Likewise, hair sample. You can only compare hair with hair sample. Tool marks, bite marks, tire marks, fingerprints. So whatever you want to compare, it will be compared with the alike samples, not with some other thing. So hence, anything or item in question, anything or item in question can only be compared with similar samples. Hope you understood this, the necessity, the importance of comparison. You cannot go blindly and compare yourself with a tree. You should only be compared with your fellow human being. Let us move on to the next law, that is law of analysis. Analysis is the detailed examination of anything involute or complex in order to understand its nature or to determine its essential features. Analysis can be no better than the sample analyzed. Even the best of best analysis will be useless if the expert is given or rendered with improper and contaminated samples. As you have on the slide, improper sampling and contamination render the best analysis useless. Hence, this law emphasizes the necessity of correct sampling, packaging, and labeling for the effective use of expert. Then IO has to give the correct sample with proper packaging and labeling so that it does not confuse the expert, or you should not, the IO should not contaminate the samples thinking to be it of one individual. The example is below. Blood drops found in two different places of the same crime scene may not belong to one person. You cannot, the IO cannot, you means IO investigator, you assuming to be yourself as an IO, you cannot confuse yourself that or come to conclusion that the blood in two different places belong to one particular individual, and hence both the samples collected will be put in one package and sent to the expert. No, that is not the correct way to do it. It will, the sample will get contaminated. You have to collect the samples individually, packed and labeled. so that the expert, the whoever is analyzing it, will be easy for them, will give their best result unless you provide them with correct samples, uncontaminated, with proper packaging and labeling. They can't give their best. So it is the common sense of not only this, for everything with regard to criminal investigation, I should have some basic common sense as well as science in operating the process of investigation. Let us move on to the next law, that is law of probability or probability. The word probability has synonyms such as likelihood, possibility, examination of uncertainty, analysis of uncertainty. In fact, it creates a confusion. All the identifications, definite or indefinite, are made consciously or unconsciously on the basis of probability. Probability of solving a case depends on investigation, lies in the quality of evidences collected, maybe physical evidence or the evidences gathered from the witnesses, various kinds of witnesses. In fact, this probability is mathematics, and it is either told in terms of ratio or percentage. The probability, for example, probability of solving a case, if I ask you what are the chances of getting him convicted, you might tell in percentage 100%, sir, or in ratio 10 out of 10. Now, that is how this probability works. It is analysis of uncertainty or the examination of uncertainty. Until the outcome is known, you're not certain about it. You'll be guessing it. Possibilities are there. Likely to get punished or possibility of getting punished because it shows the upper hand or not. So, based on all the previous laws and principles, based on the investigation and the event, all these are based on the evidences collected by the investigating officer. How best he has done his investigation will yield him the good result. The probability. Probably he might give this his investigation might probably get justice to the victim. Let us see the last law, that is law of circumstantial facts. Do facts lie? I don't think so. It never lies. Facts do not lie. Men can and do. Hence, the importance of circumstantial evidence is as good as oral evidence. Oral evidence depends upon so many factors such as power of observation, assimilation, or to suggestion. It is like whenever an eyewitness says that as I've seen this individual committing the crime, it is it is meant to say that that person, that witness, eyewitness, has observed the individual, and whatever he has seen, that is digested. That means the crime is understood by the eyewitness, and as a result, he will give suggestion. Observation, the digestion part, whatever things is going around or committed by the individual is seen, means observed, digested, and then the suggestion is given by the eyewitness. So many say, many say that circumstantial evidences will not convict the perpetrator. No, it's wrong. Many cases have been convicted based on these circumstantial facts. Based on these circumstantial facts. So all these laws are very important. An investigating officer or the criminal justice system uses all these laws and principles to identify and fix the criminal accurately to solve the crime and thus deliver justice to the victim. Forensic science is definitely an crucial aid in criminal justice system at large, today and in future. Thank you.